What's up, people? Welcome back to the BCMA podcast. That's the Black Clover Martial Arts podcast. It's your boy Lucky from Lucky's Muay Thai. This is session 2, episode 4. And in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the White House card, the Netflix card, fighter pay, again, Zuffa boxing. Is that even a real thing? I mean, I guess it is. The lack of passion in MMA world right now is kind of crazy. And then let's just chit chat a little bit about what actually sells a fight and how we got here. But first, if you like the show, keep the like, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend, pass it along, write a comment in below. Help the algorithm, write a comment below. You know what I mean. If you want to stop by the gym, great Muay Thai, great Jiu-Jitsu, great instructors, awesome people, www.luckysmt.com, and I will set you up with a trial class. If you like it, we'd love to have you come by and be a part of the family. So hit us up, www.luckysmt.com. If you're a beginner, if you just want to work out, get some new skills, meet some cool people, or just be part of a community, we got the spot for you. Lucky's Muay Thai, and I'm telling you, you'll have a great time. www.luckysmt.com. Swing by. Okay, first, I guess we should talk about what MVP, and I'm not talking about Michael Venom Page, but we'll talk about that too. What MVP is doing with this Netflix card. Jake Paul, God bless his soul. Though he is an interesting character that, you know, maybe I don't agree with a lot. This is what he's doing with that Netflix card. The headliner, at least this is the way it's listed, is Diaz Perry. Then you're looking at Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano. Then Ngannou Lins. Then you're looking at Parnasse versus Cross, which is like, I don't know. But then you got DeSantos Despazi. I don't know how to pronounce his last name because I'm a moron. Mokaev versus Morales, which is a banger of a fight. Jason Jackson versus Lorenz Larson, another banger of a fight. I mean, everybody that I mentioned, except for maybe Dos Santos, except for Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano, has basically been pretty busy one way or another. Let's get going. Fazil versus Babian should be cool. We got Nguyen versus Morales, another decent fight. And then you got Alex Pereira's sister versus Jade Mason Wong. Jade Mason Wong's been fighting bare knuckle, and obviously Pereira's been fighting karate combat. But that's a banger too, and they'll get paid. And then you got Avila versus TBC. I don't know. But I think the point I'm trying to make about this card is that it's actually good. It's not just a Netflix one-off, which we talked about before, which is a great idea. You don't have to combat the major, but you can do one-offs, and this is how you do it. You put together a banger of a card with some decent name fighters that have, a good fan base all around. Like, people like these fighters. This Jason Jackson Lorenz Larkin fight, I like it. Mokaev Morales, I mean, this is a great fight, man. So that in comparison to what the White House is putting on, which is, listen, it may not be fair to compare the two because they're just different scenarios, and we'll get into the whole thing. So let's just really quick run down the White House because it's only like 6 or 7 fights. Topuria versus Gaethje, banger fight, maybe. Topuria's coming back from all this break from his divorce. Gaethje obviously is... I don't want to say Gaethje's chinny because he's not chinny, but when he gets hit, he does get wobbled, and Hilaire Topuria is the person that will hit you. Now, the thing about Justin Gaethje is he will make you fight like you're in a bar, and it's very difficult to do. So, we'll see. Pereira versus Gane. I wasn't going to break these down, but Pereira versus Gane. Gane's got the size. Pereira's got probably the better kickboxing skills overall. But wouldn't it be something if Pereira took him down and submitted him? That'd be great. O'Malley versus Zahabi. This is a sleeper. I mean, I think people are underestimating Zahabi. Ayman Zahabi's actually pretty good. And Firas Zahabi's his brother. He will have him well prepared, even if he's not actually doing all the preparation, he will be prepared for Sean O'Malley, for sure. Mauricio Santos, also Mauricio Rufy, is fighting Michael Chandler. Don't know. I mean, in my mind, I would like, though Rufy's the guy right now, moving up the ladder here, ranked 9th, Michael Chandler, for his story arc, would be fantastic for him to go to the White House card, beat a nice up-and-coming guy, and then retire. And then he gets to just stick it to all the haters, because he gets to retire and say, meet you at the top. I told you this is where I would be. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. Kyle Dawkins is like, why am I on this card? Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. All right. Now, in comparison, these are the two biggest cards, and in comparison, I would have to say that this Netflix card is just more interesting. It's just more interesting. There's like the first 3 fights that are interesting on this White House card, but this MVP Netflix card just looks really good. So Saturday, May 16th for that White House card. Sunday, June 14th. These are a month apart. We'll see, man. We'll see. It has yet to be seen. Now, if the UFC is smart, they would add one more fight. I don't know what that would be, but one more fight they could add, that would be dope. People are talking a lot about the UFC. They're talking a little bit more about Dana White and his passion for the game. They're talking about the UFC and like the lack of like excitement. There's a lot of things. Now, if you follow this podcast, you know I've talked about this a million times. It's not that I don't like the fighters. I mean, I could run down a list of fighters that I really like. New fighters, old fighters. I understand the struggle, and I like the artistry, and I like what it takes to get to the point that you're successful in this game. I don't like the dirty behind the scenes backdoor crap. I mean, if you look at what's going on now with Dana White and John Jones, there's this whole he said, she said, you were never going to be on the card. Okay, well then why are you talking to my manager and negotiating? We were never negotiating. I mean, this kind of stuff is what makes it ugly and nasty, and it's what makes you not want to enjoy it. Like, you just don't want to enjoy it. For me, I guess I'm closer to the action. I have young fighters that are, you know, working on their Muay Thai, working on their Jiu-Jitsu, and I see this stuff happening, and I'm like, brother, you got to have steel skin, a second and a third option, tons of sacrifices, a million other things. But how did we get here where the UFC is in this position where they're actually having to compete with the Netflix one-off by Jake Paul? Well, I'll tell you how we got here. And as I said, if you've been following this podcast, you know I've said many times the main problem is the promoters don't want to promote. Once Instagram, Snapchat, all of these things became prominent, and the fighters got their sponsorships taken away, everybody's making less money, and everybody's got to figure out, how the hell am I going to make the ends meet? And what they said was, hey, I guess I'll sell some t-shirts with my fight nickname on it. Or I guess I'll go on and sit down with another fighter and we'll talk about fights. Or I'll go and, you know, do meet and greets, or I'll show up at a trading card place and sign, whatever it is. Like, fighters had to basically promote themselves completely. So not only do they have to, you know, talk shit about their opponent, hey, I'm going to beat him, he's never seen anybody like me, blah, blah, blah. Now they have to video themselves, which, listen, if you're doing it by yourself, okay, but if you're having to pay people to come and video you so you have quality video, I mean, what are we talking about? This is not the job of the fighter per se. Like, you expect the fighters to train 7 days a week, 6 to 7 days a week, 2 to 3 times a day, and become a video editor, video producer, script writer, a manager for their own, like they have to book meetings and book out, like, what is the promoter doing exactly besides providing the platform? That is not the way it's supposed to work. The promoter is supposed to get out there and be like, this is the best fighter, blah, blah, blah. These are the best 3 fighters in this weight class. One of them is, after these 2 fights, one of them is going to move up and face the other guy for the championship. This is going to, like, promotion means to sell the product. What sells a fight? Interest sells a fight. Matchup sells a fight. Style sell a fight. Fans wanting to see the fight because of what the fight brings. It matters. They like a particular fighter. Listen, when fighters are most loved and like most adored? Right before the fights, when they're being interviewed, like 2 days before, and they're talking about whatever's going on and how they're going to win. And then right after the fight, at the press conferences after they've won, and they're cracking a joke about how they got stuck in the eye in the 3rd round and they couldn't see anything and they had to shake it off and hit the one in the middle, and they're cracking jokes or whatever. And even the fighter that loses is like, man, he really got the better of me. I thought I had him here, and then he did this. Like, people love that. But regardless of what Volkanovski does with his cooking show, which is fucking amazing, not everybody's a chef. Not everybody's a chef. Listen, and what's fucked up is people play a lot of video games now. But when Demetrius Johnson was trying to play video games and promoting the Xbox, they weren't even paying him. And then the UFC didn't see any reason why they should jump on it and attach themselves to that either. This is so much money. You have the best fighter in the world. You have one of the best, like, technological companies in the world. You have video games, which everybody loves. And you have a burgeoning sport that's like becoming this big, huge thing. And here's this guy. The company doesn't want to pay him. Xbox doesn't want to pay him. And they trade him away for Ben Askren, who gets then flying kneed by Jorge Masvidal. I feel like there are so many missed opportunities because they're relying on the fighters to do the promotion. Of course, there's no passion. They don't give a shit about the fights, which kind of sucks. I mean, they care somewhat, obviously, but not the way they used to. Like, and I would say, people talk a lot of shit about boxing, where boxing is and so forth, but at least some of the promoters in boxing actually act like they give a fuck about the fighters, and in a way that people care about the promoters caring. Right now, people are complaining about the promoters and their lack of passion, complaining about the matchmakers and their lack of understanding about the matchmaking. We got here, when people say, how did we get here? We got here because, once again, the companies, especially, you have to go with the UFC. They decided that, this fighter, that fighter, they're getting views. Well, then why are we putting money into marketing a person that can market themselves? And if you know fighters, the way, and the fighting industry on the level of amateur all the way up to pro now, if you're around enough amateurs, you start to hear things like, he's got this many followers, he's got that many followers. And why is that important? It's important because the promoters only want you if you've got followers. They don't give a shit if you, listen, they do care if you're like KOing everybody, but at some point, they want to know, hey man, because if you're KOing everybody, people are going to come see you. But you could be a good fighter, some knockouts, some decisions, some decent fights, and just not be into marketing and promotion in that way. And because you don't have enough followers, you don't get the look. And it can be another fighter who is not as skilled, but because he has viewers and followership, because he does a fucking, I don't even know, he says ridiculous things that get viral views, he's going to get the look. It's dirty and it's crazy. And yeah, so if you wonder how we got here, where the UFC is competing with a Netflix card of a bunch of, some relatively active fighters from now, but a lot of like retired fighters and fighters you haven't seen in a while, is because the lack of passion and expecting the fighters to do all of the work. Now, listen, yes, they give them a platform, they provide them with certain things, but like, these things are drops in the buckets, a drop in the bucket compared to what they could be doing for fighters, for the organizations, and I mean all of them, because the high tide rises all ships, right? So like, if the UFC is doing proper things by their fighters, other organizations will also follow suit. It's unfortunate that we have sort of regressed in this thing where now fighter pay is back in the issue, back on a topic again. Listen, man, ultimately, if the fighters aren't getting paid a large chunk of the overall money, they lose. If you're trying to make it a fight, like a major organization, like a football or basketball or baseball or hockey or any of those things, you got to pay the fighters. And even in boxing, fighters get paid. Now, I'm not saying they get paid a lot. A lot of fighters do not. But a lot of fighters do get paid, man. Because the system's been around a long time. Like, fighters in boxing will make more in the long run, I believe, than UFC fighters overall. Because they just pay more in general. And they're going to get more fights. So even if they're paying less, they're fighting more. The UFC, you could be fighting twice in the year, making 15 and 15. You win one, you lose one, and then who knows if you're fighting. Like, when you're fighting again, all the money that's going out between taxes and managers and everyday living, your whatever, rent, mortgage, whatever it is. So yeah, we're in this position right now because they decided the fighters are the marketers and the promoters have a real lack of passion for the game. So, and also, I think Dana White just said something about Zuffa boxing, eventually putting on as many events as the UFC. Well, I mean, if you know anything about trying to do two things like this at the same time, one of them has definitely got to suffer. One of them's got to suffer or sacrifice. So I'm not sure which one it'll be, but it looks to be a little bit like UFC's in needing of a little injection of love from somewhere, some energy. We need they need a fighter with some electricity, and they got a few around. But again, you're asking guys to market and promote themselves that's not what they do. They don't want to do it. And the ones that have done it don't want to do it anymore. They're kind of, I'm tired of telling people I'll whoop their ass. I've already made enough money doing, so I don't want to I shouldn't have to do it. Anyway, all that being said, looking forward to the Netflix card. I mean, I guess I don't even know if, like, again, with the war, I don't know what's going on with the White House card. We'll see by then what is happening. What else is going on? UFC London just passed, and it was a shit show. The matchups weren't great. Fights were and I'm just not sure, what that was supposed to be. And so far, this Paramount Plus thing has been a little bit rocky, if you ask me. I'm not necessarily certain how this is going to go in the long run, but it's definitely a little bit rocky. It doesn't feel like, it just doesn't feel like it should. And I don't know what that means, but it doesn't feel like it should. All right, last but not least, Adesanya versus Pyfer. Joe Pyfer. Oh, I might have to come back. But I guess I'll give you a little bit. Let's see. I'm taking Adesanya. Macy Barber versus Alexa Grasso. Oof. Michael Chiesa versus Carlston Harris. See, it's another card where you're just going down and you're like, that guy's good, that guy's okay. Terrence McKinney's on this card. That might be something. But the first two fights, Israel Adesanya, Joe Pyfer versus Alexa Grasso, and then Alexa Grasso versus maybe Macy Barber. That's it. Michael Chiesa's been in the UFC I remember when he was on The Ultimate Fighter. I just, Ray Douglas, Julian Rosa, Mansour Abdul Malik, Yursi Belagrui, Netherlands. Listen, man, I'm going down this thing, and this is the problem that they've been talking about when it comes to fighters in the UFC. There's a lot of international fighters, not a lot of American fighters. It's hard for the American fans to get behind it, and it's not because they're international fighters. It's just because they need somebody they can relate to. They need somebody that's somebody that they feel like, oh, I could see that guy at 7-Eleven when I go to get my fucking, Starbucks glass bottle of whatever or whatever, like they don't feel that with, I don't know. And then some of these people are like, who are? They don't feel that with Taufik Musayev from Azerbaijan. I don't give a shit. I love fighters. It doesn't matter to me. But if you're wondering what's happening here, there's a lot of like, who is that guy? Who is that guy? Who is that guy? Who is that guy? And until they get that figured out, it's going to be a little bit of a rocky road, at least here, because most of the fights, if not 95%, 98% of the fights are in the U.S. You're looking for U.S. fans to buy U.S. tickets. U.S. tickets are $300 on the low end. I'm not paying $300 to go see Yusri Belagari. I mean, it's not even like I'm not paying to go see it. It's just a point of like, they need some stars to sell these fights. And I would possibly pay that to go see Israel Adesanya, but that's on the low end nosebleed. Man, I don't know. If you want to watch some just good fights, go watch One Championship. They have Friday fights, Muay Thai. They've had some decent events. I'm probably going to do I don't know. Maybe I'll watch some fights and do a live. If not that, then maybe I'll do a reaction video. But they're having the same problem. The thing about One Championship, right at the beginning, you had a lot of people whose names were known, who you could attach yourself to. I know that guy. And then they got Demetrius Johnson. That was great. Again, not sure who's even fighting on one right now. PFL, I'm seeing their fighters on the Netflix card, the ones that are good. So I'm not even sure they're going to be around. I think they're going to be on Ariel Helwani's show at some point, the president of PFL. So I want to listen to that just to hear what he's got to say. But that was my comparison. I just feel like the Netflix card's got everything you want to see as far as action and all that stuff. The White House card is the 250-year anniversary. So that is going to be a big festival. It'll be a thing to see, It'll just be a thing to see. Anyway, all that being said, we'll catch you on the next episode, which should be either right before this fight. No, you know what? I'll cover this Israel Adesanya UFC Fight Night card next week after he beats Joe Pyfer. Anyway, I love y'all. I'm out. If you like the show, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend, pass it along. If you want to stop by the gym, sound like my daughter, www.luckysmt.com. Come by, learn how to kick, learn how to punch, learn how to choke, learn how to be good ass people. We'll holler at you later. Peace. I'm out.